favorite anomalies in Hollywood is when comedians don't just go dramatic, they go dark. Hi, I'm Latasha, and this is the Exalted Filmophile. Now, Marlon Wayans is a cultural phenomenon in the comedic space, but he's also made a major impact in drama. Surprisingly, as Lou Smith, Will Smith's father in the dramatic recreation of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on Peacock. But most notable as the villainous ex-NFL star Isaiah White in the Jordan Peele Monkey Paw produced Him. In part one of my series, when I analyzed Robin Williams, I theorized that comedians are the best to arc from comedy to dramatic roles because of the sad clown theory. The sad clown both intimately lives in darkness while simultaneously running from it through the mask of comedy, the court gesture. It's all a way from them to hide from the true pain. But in discussing Marlon Wayans, let's start from the beginning.
Oh, please, here, kill him first.
Hello? What's your favorite scary movie?
Do you need a tan?
Now, I first came across Marlon Wayans' work as he starred in the Wayans brothers on the WB, but that wasn't his first start. He got his first start in the early original sketch comedy series In Living Color, originated by his big brother, Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Oh, that's because I do a lot of radio acting, you know, that type of thing.
And Marlon Wayans' genius stands out to me because of all of the tools he has in his toolbox for comedy. We have to first talk about his physical comedy, the way Marlon contorts his body and even sacrifices it in order to serve the story and the laugh.
What? What's up? You watch on.
Down to the way he uses his face. It's almost like a musical instrument.
What else can go wrong?
His face is theater. His face is the stage, up in the ante of the joke with visual displays and impersonations. We've got to talk about Marlon's vocal comedy, these raspy animations he uses to increase and decrease our emotions to take us on that roller coaster ride. These boisterous volumes, the full range of these octaves, his inundations, all to serve the texture, the tone, the notability of the sound of his voice. We know Marlon Wayans when we hear him.
You gotta put you in the full Nelson and lick 'em.
I'm just a squirrel in your world trying to get a what? A peanut.
Then we need to pay attention to his cultural observations, which I believe comedic geniuses do best. I've always said comedians are the voice boxes to spotlight the status quo in society. They are so much more than court gestures. The comedic genius is a mirror, all from society's trends, highs, lows, down to their irrefutable ills. Examples of this are Jon Stewart, Dave Chappelle, Stephen Colbert, Cat Williams, Bill Maher, and most famously, George Carlin. These comedians aren't afraid to punch at themselves, but culture, society, politics, all at large. Marlon Wayans' iconic Scary Movie, the parody of horror films of the era.
Nothing like that, son. Sit cool. Right on.
Totaling 6 films, both critically acclaimed and riddled with some rotten tomatoes. Marlon continued his mainstream Hollywood success with some hot and cold films. Don't Be a Menace to Society.
Fool, that's a $10 food stamp. Better bring back my change.
Senseless.
Excuse me, sir. Can you show me where the suits are? The drawers, something.
50 Shades of Black.
Boyfriend.
Ron, to be honest with you, I just fucked her a few times.
The Sixth Man.
What was that?
It's freaky.
Little Man.
I see you.
And the ultimate iconic zeitgeist, White Chicks. Now, all comedies have dramatic elements. It's the storytelling engine to make the truth funny.
And then it hit me. On stage, out there, pod broke down. Because the reality of my parents being gone hit me.
People that lost your mama, we are a part of an elite gang, the Dead Mama Gang. Gang, gang!
It's how, as a screenwriter, I can tell a new comedic voice or a new comedic actor. The comedy is taking precedence rather than the grounded foundational truth that leads us to the funny moments and that breath of fresh air. It's just funny stuff happening with no grounding from the world or the characters. It's a little hollow. So, following all of Marlon's Hollywood success, he explodes back on the TV screen, recreating one of the most pivotal scenes in Black culture: the return of Will Smith's abandoning father, Lou Smith, in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Following the original, Marlon had big shoes to fill, and he did it exceptionally. So, when I think of the sad clown theory, there's a rawness of truth that Marlon has seamlessly delivered over the years through his comedy. Unlike the dramatic actor, a comedic actor like Marlon is not driven by the applause of performance, he's chasing the unabashed truth. Marlon Wayans is the type of performer that is completely shed of his ego, completely giving his all to the story, acclaimed or not. He's always willing to lay on the sword and completely put himself on the line to serve the story. Which brings us to Him. Him was the 2025 supernatural horror film directed and co-written by Justin Tipping. The film stars Tyreek Withers, Julia Fox, and of course, Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans is playing a nearly retired NFL player, Isaiah White, who is training a newcomer, Cam, for a more sinister reason. It's a satanic ritual and sacrifice to steal from Cam's essence in order to feed the success of Isaiah. And this role is the darkest we've ever seen Marlon. His character wasn't just bad, he was sinister. Isaiah was always towing the line of insanity, which lived more in the atmosphere rather than his overt actions. Isaiah's danger was in the feeling, hurting himself and others beyond measure. And we don't often see Black men in roles where spilling blood feeds in this sort of relentless, sadistic pleasure. That's usually reserved for white people's kind of horror. And I've always been an advocate for play. We are allowed to explore, experiment, and discover in genre. But one of the heaviest messages in Him was that men are pressured to put their bodies up for violence in order to feed the machine of capitalistic greed. Men are not human, they're product. Aggression and violence are symbols of strength, their currency. And hence, their own self-destruction is heavily rewarded. Though the newcomer Cam is possibly at risk with a major head injury on the line, he's pressured by his agent to join the league and follow Isaiah into training. Isaiah, also raised up in the league with this indoctrination, passes this generational curse right down to Cam. It's almost tradition. But my personal curiosity when it comes to Marlon Wayans, since he's been a comedic presence for most of my life and most of his career, where does he go when he goes dark? What truth is Marlon pulling from to serve the characters and this story? When you do story right, horror is what happens when comedy refuses to let out a laugh. Horror is comedy with no escape. You're trapped with the uncomfortable truth with no release. So, what was the truth in sacrificing all of the blood, sweat, and tears to become the GOAT? How far are you willing to damage yourself in order to be put up for sale to sit on top of the throne? There's a thematic line from him to artists, much like myself. We're taught to suffer for the art. That's sort of our payment in order to be great. What we create is almost deemed worthless if it didn't cost us some pain. Van Gogh cut off his ear. Sylvia Plath stuck her head in the oven. So many other incredible artists have taken their own lives. So another question arises. Were we handed down generational trauma, and are we expected to continue the tradition? And what would it cost us to tap out? The greatness of the art or the capitalistic reward? But all in all, for me, Marlon is the epitome of what it means to play. He seamlessly dives in between his own visionary expressions, his successful family lineage that has lasted 2 generations, and daring, bold, dramatic roles that leave a lasting and emotional impact. Marlon's biggest gift and my personal biggest inspiration is that he is never afraid to fail, and therefore he's always able to fly, all on his own terms. Thank you for subscribing to the Exalted Filmophile.